Today we get to see what the E-Click system can do on the Gen 3 Raptor. Hey guys, how do we keep it dirty off-road? And today we're here with Dan from SDi to really take a look at what their E-Click system can do on a Gen 3 Raptor. We got a ton of test footage of it on the trails. Dan helped us do a technical overview to see what's new on the kit. And we're in Johnson Valley because
we had to.
At our test location in Lake Elsinore, we couldn't stop.
Yeah.
Now normally we would do our testing here on the SDi test course, but that right there is where our obstacle was. And it's just too overgrown, just hiding all the suspension so we can't really see it. And unfortunately, there's an obstacle just a little bit before that turn where the road's completely washed out. This is all because of the recent rainstorms here in Southern California. It's had a pretty drastic effect on the course, but the SDi crew was testing here beforehand. And while it was going through here, it was so fast that it ran out of space before it hit the end. And it didn't have enough time to stop and it almost went into the ditch. So they've tapped so much more capability in that truck. They're too fast for this course. That's why we decided to go to Johnson Valley.
We need to come out to the real playground.
This truck is just faster than what that course can handle. In this video, we're gonna take the truck through its paces and we're gonna show you guys all you wanted to know about the E-Click system. For those of you guys that don't know what the kit is, SDi's E-Click system basically takes over the live valve shocks of your Ford Raptors or even your UTVs that have live valve.
Almost like a power commander for your suspension. Like, you know how you can tune your ignition or, you know, banks, everybody's got them. Think of it like that for your suspension.
You guys saw us test this on the Gen 2 Raptor. We saw that Ford left a lot on the table and the SDi E-Click system really woke up those stock shocks. And then you guys did your own valving on there and took it even another level of capability.
Now with the Gen 3, it's like already such a huge step better, but we end up doing the same thing. The E-Click system, of course, comes with all the electronics, everything you need, blends in seamlessly with, but we still on the Gen 3 ended up revalving the shocks. We have a lift bucket to level out the suspension, and actually it gives you more up travel so you can hit things even faster. Everything is elevated a whole nother notch because Gen 3
is more capable.
It just, yeah, it's right? Really cool truck.
The Gen 3's got faster shocks, it's got more travel, you got a linked rear end that you could really take advantage of. And all of that combined with the SDi algorithm, I think is just the perfect combination. It shows you how much Ford left on the table in terms of performance on these trucks. So we're back at SDi's headquarters here in Lake Elsinore to take a look at what's new in the kit, what's new for the Gen 3, and really what's new for SDi E-Click altogether, right? Because you guys added some new functionality to it.
This chassis is so much better, so a lot of it was revolved around that. Electronics was a little bit more of a challenge, but some new really cool features came out of that.
We're gonna give you guys an overview of the kit, all the technology that went into it, how it gets installed. It's a very different install than the Gen 2, and some new features too on light controls and some light controls up front, right? You guys can control the lights as well.
Yeah, because you know, everybody's lifting the front, getting it balanced. Now we could just adjust it.
All right,
you can actually pick your baseline.
Why don't we start off by popping the hood? It's integrated the same way it was before, right? You guys are doing it over here?
Actually, no, the ECU now is under the seat. And this actually came up a lot to do with the Carly and the diesel kit. When we went and had the ECU mounted on the battery box like normal, towing Sage actually overheated the ECU and our warning came on, it turned red and it said it got too hot. So we started looking at what Ford did and they've actually mounted everything inside, more temperature controlled, and it keeps the ECUs running at a more stable temperature.
So before you used to have all your modules and all stuff here, now we just have a few cables going here and we have your sensor there in the middle, right?
Yeah, so IMU sensor still mounted in the middle of the truck. And the only other wire that's actually coming into under the hood area, we do a direct connection to the battery and the fuse tap.
Clutter inside here is much less. That means an easier install for everybody else.
Absolutely. And well, wait till we get to the next part. Gen 3 definitely has a better, nicer, more sophisticated electronics package. We tried to work in harmony with the Ford ECU that controls the suspension, and we finally decided to take it out because we were fighting over the same information and the thing would get grumpy, let's call it that. We removed the stock ECU and we built an adapter box. Let's go and get underneath and take a look at that. call this the adapter. It bolts right into the same spot. And what it does is it makes the connectivity between the Ford OE wiring harness and our system work. You do have to run wires just down to underneath the seat. There's already a hole there. You end up running it just past the driver's area and you end up going back down to the baseboard. Then you get under the seat.
Through the firewall?
Yeah, through the firewall at the beginning. It's still the easiest location.
Now this is something that I think a lot of you guys are going to be interested in, because in order to have proper control of the shocks and not have any errors, this had to be replaced.
We tried to have both systems work in harmony, but when we have the stock one plugged in, the amount of errors that kept popping up, and we'd fix one error and then the next thing would happen. When we had both systems working and both trying to communicate, it just became too cluttered. The whole bus slowed down. So by removing it and just letting it communicate with our CAN bus and simplifying it, it just made the truck really actually come to life.
If you guys notice, the upgrades for the Gen 3 have been slow to come out because of the electronics. The electronics actually get in the way of upgrades and disabling the system if you want aftermarket shock. There's a lot of issues there. So you guys are one of the first companies to really solve for that and do a full proper integration and take over the shocks.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. It was a lot of work. And then once we got it solved, COVID supply chain issues just delayed the launch of this 3 months because we couldn't get a few key components. We've wanted to get this out so bad, and finally we're geared up and can really, we have tons ready to go.
Very cool. Now, because there's no brains under the hood, where are the brains at now?
Everything is mounted under the seat.
Oh, so it's mounted right here just at the front. All the cabling and accessories are here?
Yeah. This one is kind of a little bit loose just so we can reflash it. This is obviously our test truck. This stays the exact same. Same spot. There is like the new feature, like we can get in there now and to adjust that headlight level. That's one of the coolest new features for the Gen 3, but we still have the same settings, but the tune on the shocks and the algorithm is a lot different for this truck. The tune in this compared Gen 2 to Gen 3, huge difference.
We couldn't use the regular test course for this truck because it is so much more capable.
Yeah, it's just, we just don't have enough room to get it going.
Now we're inside to show you guys some of the new features that are coming to the E-Click system. Correct me if I'm wrong too, you can actually retrofit an old system with this as well, right?
Yep. If you want to do the light system, you do have to get a new main harness. This harness has extra pigtails on it to connect to this, so everything communicates. Battery hookup. Number one, there's a big monster fuse for the whole setup, obviously. For each light or auxiliary, whatever you're going, has its own built-in fuse. And instead of doing in the box, we just made it on the outside of the wire, so it's easy. You know exactly what one is going where, and it's easy to track. Comes in a sealed box. You can mount it in the engine compartment. 4 30-amp relays in there, and then you just fuse it after. You buy with a new system, you can get it with this and it's already included. There ends up being so many buttons everywhere, and people that want to have a nice clean dash, you can control all your light from our touchscreen. We worked with KC on this. You can literally pick your color and you can pick the brightness all through the control. Then if I back up a step.
And those are KC lights?
Yeah, KC RGB rock lights.
So you guys have full integration with the KC lights?
Yep. We're working on a few others right now, but the integration hasn't been done. And then with the lights, so you can turn it on or you can have it strobe. So it's all done through the control. Trying to keep it super simple, clean.
It's perfect for rock lights, stuff that stays on all the time. It'd be great for fog lights. Now, my eye spies something really cool back there. And is that a sway bar setup right here that I'm looking at with E-Click?
Yes.
Yeah, guys, you're looking at a dynamic sway bar system right here. Now, we don't have time to go through it in this video, so be on the lookout for an updated video on just that sway bar link. It's super cool. All right, guys, now we're going to go back to testing at Johnson Valley to really see what new kit can do on the Gen 3, and you guys are going to be blown away. This truck is a little unique. This is a Level Up Performance's truck.
Yep, thanks, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Mike, for letting us speed up your truck.
I'm glad you're not out here today.
This truck is kind of unique, right? You guys have gone through and revalved all the shocks, so you guys have started playing with the tunes on the shocks as well.
Yeah, normally we run our leveling bucket. We actually have a set of prototype Hypercos on right now. They're looking to build spring kits for this. It's a little bit stiff today. Like, they're working on its prototype. I know they're gonna get it. They make good stuff. Right now for today, it's a little bit on the stiff side.
Another change too that we're working on is the Gen 2 pistons and the Fox shocks were like billet. It looked like a worked factory race bike. Like, it was amazing. They did go and change the piston for Gen 3.
Does it look like a cost savings thing?
Yeah, it's definitely a cost savings. I think with the volume, I'm sure Fox had no choice. Like, it's just one of those things. The billet piston is so expensive to machine and just time. They probably couldn't even produce them fast enough for how busy this whole thing's been with COVID and everything.
Plus, they got Toyota now too that they're building for it.
Yeah. So we are actually working on a billet piston kit for the Gen 3s with the valving already in. So that way your dealer can just put it in easily. You don't even have to send the shocks to us to get it revalved.
So that's pretty cool. So with the SDi E-Click, you're gonna get more performance and you're gonna get a more capable and reliable shock setup too, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely.
So for those that want that next step, definitely look into getting SDi's valve. The stock truck with the stock shocks and just the E-Click system alone really wakes it up. But once you add the valving, it really takes it to that next level.
You know, if you're on the road 95% of the time, the valving is in this. But when you're out at a place like this, the valving's a must have. If you really want to push it off-road, like Baja runs, like actually pushing it in the desert, the valving's the only way to go. It makes it like a little trophy truck. It's just amazing what these trucks can do.
Yeah, and this has become more of my recommendation, right? Because you got a lot of guys out there that daily their trucks and they want to have the capability to occasionally off-road and be able to have a comfortable ride at home. And those that have built their off-road trucks over the years know, as soon as you build it for off-road, your on-road performance suffers substantially. This system really takes advantage of both worlds, and it's really becoming my recommendation because the whole kit, even with the valving, is less what it would cost to do full FRS shocks. And you're gonna get way more capability out of this system than you are on an conventional FRS shock setup, on a Gen 3, on a Gen 2, or anything like that.
Even with the revalved shocks, like, our goal is to keep the on-road performance the same or better. You know, a lot of times you get into more performance shocks stiffer, it's beating you up on the road. With the shocks tuned the way they are, street mode on the E-Click system, it still is a comfortable ride. It's not beating you up. And as soon as you come out here, you just hit desert mode and go for it.
Yep, and now they also, with some of the features where you can stiffen up the back end, you can even tow with this. So you don't have to worry about add leaves or anything like that. It allows you to keep that back end stiff for towing.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
We have one IG guy that follows us. He's a farmer, and he's always showing, like, he's got bales popping out of the top. He's towing his camping trailer. He's using it all the time. It's great.
It is a really great system. It makes the truck more versatile, but also it gets into that untapped potential that the Gen 3 has that Ford left on the table.
Yep.
All right, guys, so now we're going to start beating it up here in Johnson Valley and show you guys what it can really do. And it's impressive, guys, because it's putting my mid-travel truck to shame. this section of track looks familiar to you guys, it's because we used it during the SVC Owners Day when SVC tried to tune my truck. It's a very rough spot. It's a giant hole. It bottoms out the suspension and causes all the mid-travel trucks to buck hard here, especially mine. That's good. Now let's see how the SDi E-Click truck handled it on the Gen 3. Because this is where it's pretty impressive. With just stock shocks and the Hyperco prototype springs, it's handling it very close to what a mid-travel can do from a stock suspension. Now, mind you, it could probably handle it a little bit better if the Hypercos weren't so stiff up front, but still, man, it is handling it so good, just as good, if not better than the mid-travel trucks are.
Felt pretty good.
Alright guys, that's it for this video. I'm really blown away by the untapped potential that Dan and his crew at SDi were able to get from the Gen 3 platform. I mean, the Gen 3 is already capable, just the level that they stepped it up to, the performance you get out of this thing is awesome. Now, if you are on the market for a system that lets you keep your cush ride while at the same time giving you a monster off-road, you have no other option but the SDi E-Click system. It is the only system that allows you to do that, and it's more cost-effective than a set of Fox Race Series shocks. Way more affordable, tons more potential, tons more capability, and it is my absolute recommendation for anybody looking to have the best of both worlds. All right guys, put any questions or comments below. Please consider subscribing, and don't forget, here in a couple of weeks we're going to be doing a video on the dynamic sway bar link setup, which is really cool. It's going to change how you off-road. Thanks a lot for watching guys. See you guys on the next one.